Well, hello. I'm back to do my top 10 worst movies of 2023. Now, bear in mind, some of these, I don't actually think they're terrible. It's just, in my rankings, they would be ranked as the bottom 10. Not because they're terrible, but because the other films are just even better. So here we go. At number 10, we have The Marvels. And I watched this today for the first time. I really didn't care when it came out, so I just skipped it. And I was making this list, so I realized I should watch it, and yeah, it is just as bad as they say. It's poor character development, poor script, poor everything, really. Everything about this movie is just poorly done. And the only good redeeming part is Miss Marvel. She is on fire throughout the entire movie, so credit to Iman Vellani, but without her this movie would have collapsed completely. At number 9 we have Operation Fortune, the Guy Ritchie movie. The first Guy Ritchie movie, because he released 2 movies this year and they are both on this list. I mean, Jason Statham's good, but the action is lackluster. Acting leaves a lot to be desired. It's just not funny. It's just boring. It's like a cheap rip-off. A cheap, ugly rip-off of better spy movies. It's just not good. And I was expecting more from Guy Ritchie, but it seems we're past the days of Snatch and Sherlock Holmes, We're in the King Arthur days now, so that's not good. At number 8 we have Fair Play. A movie so dull that it took me 3 days to get through, and I didn't know what they were talking about. It's just Wall Street stuff, and they were arguing. I'm thinking it had something to do with a relationship breaking over the Wall Street stuff, but I just don't care. None of them are likable, none of them are interesting. There's no character to them. They're just shouting at each other. They're not funny, they're not fun. Not good, anyway. The acting is fine, it's fine. They shout. It's just a bunch of people being angry. That's what they say is good acting, but sometimes you need more. And this movie had nothing to offer past the initial nothing, really. There's just nothing to this movie that really was of any interest. It wasn't interesting in the slightest, so here it is. At number 7, The Covenant. I told you we'd have both Guy Ritchie movies here, and here it is. This is one of the most just boring movies I have ever seen. I don't get the praise. It's dull, it's boring, there's nothing new to it, except maybe this weird story about the enemy guys saving. That's been done a million times. There's nothing really new. It's not a typical war movie, but I didn't want it to be the typical war movie, and it turns out it wasn't what it promised to be either. It's just sludge, really. At number 6 we have Sakra, a Donnie Yen directed film starring Donnie Yen as he plays this martial artist. Poor acting, poor story, overdrawn out, mediocre action scenes which shouldn't be right coming from Donnie Yen, but there's so many cuts and shakes and poor lighting, and everything's just so poorly choreographed. It's just a very, very, very aggravating movie. I'm just disappointed that he didn't really do much. Well, we make the best of what we do. We make the best of what we make the best with what we... At number 5 we have The Little Mermaid remake, and this is one of the movies I was talking about that I don't think is bad by any means. It's not a good movie either, but it's just so low because there's nothing to it. It's the exact same as the original. It's completely pointless. It's just a cash grab, and it just isn't as good as the original anyway. The acting leaves so much to be desired, and it's just in this position where it's not exactly terrible, but it's just the fact that we had the original and this movie did nothing new, nothing to offer. It shouldn't exist. It's just here to take your money, and that's why it's so low, because it's just not good and not bad, but it shouldn't exist. At number 4 we have Joyride, just a very painfully unfunny comedy, so I would not recommend you watch this. I know a lot of people liked it, but the jokes, they're just not good. The acting is fine, but the jokes aren't good. The people are terrible. None of them are likable, and it's just annoying. It's very annoying. The humor is just so annoying. It's trying to pinpoint you. It's like that one friend you would have in middle school where he would make the most crappy jokes, but because you laughed the first time, he will continue using those jokes to poke you at every chance he gets until you just gotta tell him, it's just, I hate this. It's not fun. It's just annoying. You're just not funny. Just stop, you know? We're in the top 3 worst films of the year now, and number 3 we have Fast X. I don't need to say anything. I think there's one YouTube video on this movie that said it best in the title. There is hell, and then there is the Fast and Furious franchise. That sums it up. At number 2 for the worst movie of the year, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I watched this with my dad, and we walked out of this just angry, disappointed. Every feeling, every negative emotion you have, we felt it. It was, God, it's abysmal. It's an abysmal movie. We walked out of this. I think we started to doubt whether we even like movies or not. We were hating it. We hated this. I hated this. He hated it. I hated it. We hated it. And I can't bring myself to ever watch anything from it again, because it's just, it almost killed movies for me, if I'm being honest. It's poor to the absolute limit of poor. It's past the limit of poor. It is bad. It is really insanely bad. But then, you know, we went home, and then we watched Blade Runner 2049 for the first time after that. Wow. I mean, to any Marvel fans out there that are still defending Ant-Man and the Wasp, watch that movie and then watch Blade Runner 2049 right after, and then you'll see what a real movie is. And what the hell? And Quantumania. I can't talk about this anymore. It just makes me angry. It's such a waste of money that we went to see it in theatres. But the number 1 spot, the worst movie of the year, in my opinion, I mean, it had to be Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire. I can't bring myself to talk about this movie because I couldn't finish it the first few times. And by few times, I mean I started this movie 6 times. Only on the 7th time did I finish it. And my God, it is just the worst, most ugly, boring, uninspired, blatant copycat, crappiest, poor production. Everything is poor. Every second of this was just bad to watch. Not boring, you know, not boring. There's a different case to be made for boring. You can be boring, but, you know, if it's not, you know, just downright uncomfortably bad to watch, then I might sit through it with a bored expression on a bored expression on my face, but I might still sit through it. But wow, I mean, Rebel Moon, Jesus, every second I was just not happy. I was not happy with this movie. And, you know, I think it's weird. I always thought it was, you know, just a bit illogical to get angry over movies and complain and cry about them, because they are just movies in the end. But I mean, Rebel Moon and Ant-Man are 2 of the only times that I've actually felt just hate in my heart, hate over a movie, because they were sad. It's sad how bad they were, Jesus. But there you have it. Those were my worst movies of the year. I'm not going to watch Children of the Corn or Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, because they sound so bad. I'm not even going to consider it. I'm not going to waste my time. And yeah, that's all I got.